Senator Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders, our Brunch with Bernie hour. Senator, welcome.
Good to be with you, Tom.
Great to have you. As always, you are on the Budget Committee in the United States Senate. This is, you guys write the budget. The Gang of Six just disintegrated down to the Gang of Five. What's going on?
Well, that is the $64 question, or the $64 billion question, or the $6 trillion question.
There you go.
Something like that. All right, here's where we are at. And I hope people understand that when you're talking about the budget, you're not talking about some abstract set of numbers. You are talking about who gets health care in America, who doesn't, who gets education in America, who doesn't, whether people go hungry, whether people have housing, whether Social Security remains strong and vibrant, whether Medicare is there, whether we protect the environment, et cetera, et cetera. That's what the budget is about. So we shouldn't get lost into in the weeds in this, but we should keep our eye on the big prize, which is what kind of America do we want? Mm-hmm. Where we are right now is that as a result of primarily, but not exclusively, Republican policy, which is 2 wars, Afghanistan and Iraq, unpaid for, huge tax breaks for the richest people in this country, Bush's legacy, the Wall Street bailout, a Medicare Part D prescription drug program, and a Wall Street-caused recession, which has caused devastating pain to the average American, but at the same time brings less revenue into the federal government because of the growth of unemployment. We now have a $1.5 trillion deficit, and we now have over a $14 trillion national debt. So that's where we are. The debate going on right now in Washington is how do we deal with deficit reduction, and how do you do it, in my view, in a way that is fair? And second of all, while we deal with deficit reduction, how do we make sure that we grow jobs? Because at the end of the day, the fastest way out of a recession and the deficit is by creating the millions and millions of jobs that we need as a nation. So it's all pretty complicated stuff. Now, in the midst of this, last month, the Republicans who control the House of Representatives came up with the most reactionary budget in the modern history of America. They passed it with, I think, every Republican vote. And what it will do is make savage cuts on virtually every program that seniors depend upon, that children depend upon, that the middle class depends upon, that working families depend upon. Among other things, they would convert Medicare, they would do away with Medicare as we know it, and convert it into a program dominated by private insurance companies in which senior citizens would be given a check, a voucher, to go out and find a private insurance company that would take care of their needs. The estimate is that the first voucher that would be given, this is 10 years from now, would start off in 10 years, would be for $8,000. Now you tell me what kind of...
I can't buy health insurance for that.
That's the point.
And I'm not a senior.
So if you are a senior dealing with cancer, dealing with some other illness, needing to go into the hospital, you tell me what an $8,000 plan will buy you. Not a whole hell of a lot. Yeah. And the evidence is quite clear. There's no debate about it. What this simply does is shift the costs of seniors' health care, i.e. Medicare, from what the government now covers to what the individual will have to pay. So there's a huge shift. Seniors will have to pay many, many thousands of dollars a year more for their health insurance, pure and simple.
And half of all seniors on Medicare earn less than $28,000 a year.
Right. So it is, you ask yourself the question, you're a senior today or in 10 years. You're 55 now, you'll be 65 in 10 years. You will have an income of, say, $20,000 a year, and they're going to give you an $8,000 voucher now, to pick a private insurance company. You tell me what kind of health insurance you're going to get.
Yeah, it's going to be a disaster.
It's a disaster. Then on top of that, many seniors now, lower-income seniors, are also on Medicaid, dual coverage. They're on Medicare, covers part of their needs. Medicaid covers the other part. They're going to cut over $700 billion in Medicaid over a 10-year period, have a devastating impact on seniors and families whose loved ones are in nursing homes, have a devastating impact on children's health insurance. We have 50 million people who are uninsured right now. What the Republican budget does is ends the health care reform, which would have covered 30-plus million more, does away with that, And then instead, it slashes Medicaid, which means that over a 10-year period, tens of millions of more people will lose their health insurance. So you'll go from 50 million to 70, 80, 90 million people uninsured over a 10-year period. I mean, it is literally beyond comprehension. And then, on top of all that, and people think I'm kidding when I'm saying this, but this is definitely true, they propose, after slashing Medicare and Medicaid and education and environmental protection, to give $1 trillion in tax breaks over a 10-year period to the wealthiest people in this country. They want to reduce the marginal tax rate for the wealthy from 35 to 25%. And at a time when we have major corporation after major corporation making billions in profit, including the oil companies, what they want to do is lower the tax rates that large corporations pay. So it is, literally beyond comprehension budget, and it must be defeated. Now, on the other hand, where we are at right now, as a member of the Budget Committee, there are 22 members. The 12 people in the Democratic caucus. I'm an independent caucusing with Democrats, 10 Republicans. The Republicans will vote against anything that asks the wealthy or large corporations to pay a nickel more in taxes. Their entire focus is on cutting. Healthcare, education, the needs of the children, the needs of the poor. So we got 12 other people there. And what I have made very clear is that unless we come up with a budget, the majority comes up with a budget that calls for shared sacrifice, that says to the top 1% whose incomes have soared in recent years while their tax rates have gone down, that they're going to have to pay their fair share of taxes. I believe we should have a surtax on millionaires. That unless we begin to do away with all of the loopholes that allow profitable corporations to make billions and not pay a nickel in taxes, that unless we do away with the fact that we're losing about $100 billion in revenue because the wealthy and large corporations are stashing their money in the Cayman Islands and avoiding paying taxes to the United States, et cetera, that unless we come up with a deficit reduction package which is fair, that is not simply on the backs of the most vulnerable, I'm not going to vote for it. And then as a nation, what we have got to do is, as this negotiation goes higher up the totem pole, to the president, to the vice president, we've got to make it clear to President Obama that he has got to hang tough, that he has, in fact, got to ask the wealthiest people to start paying their fair share, do away with corporate loopholes, etc. That we cannot make, in the midst of a recession, when so many people are hurting. I hear every day from young people who are trying to afford to go to college, and they're saying, you know what, I'm not going to be able to go to college if they cut my Pell Grants. You're hearing from people who are having a hard time with their health care bills right now. They can't pay more out of their own pocket. So this is a major moment in terms of the future of America. Where do we go? How do we go? Do the rich get richer at the expense of everybody else? Or do the wealthiest people and large corporations begin to understand that they are also part of America and that they have got to participate in this movement toward deficit reduction?
Remarkable. So well said.